What's happening, everybody? How are
Hey,
you? Welcome
everybody.
back to Turning Pages with Paul
Yes,
and Lesley. My
yes.
name is Paul.
And I'm Leslie
Wow, everybody. Second video of the new
of the
year.
year, Paul. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
I can't
But
either.
I'm excited about it.
Oh, most definitely.
I'm really
Most
excited about
definitely
it.
am.
But before we go any further, we have to say thank you to all of the page
Yes, thank
turners
you all
for
so
supporting this
much.
channel
Oh
the
my
way you do.
gosh.
Last week's video off the charts with views. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking the time
you.
out to watch that. We
Appreciate
hope you
you.
enjoyed it. And then, wow, our subscribers, we're over 430 subscribers now. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
So thank you guys
Thank
so
you
much.
all.
Yeah, we couldn't be here without you. This channel would not make it without
No
you.
way.
And so thank you, page turners. And so now we're moving on to the next one. We're going to 500 now. We're trying to get to that 500 before January is done. I believe we can do it. So please, everybody, make sure you do us that big favor. Like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. And then go ahead and hit that notification bell so that you know when we're back with new videos. Everybody, today we got something great for you, something we've been promising to share with you. And baby, can you
Whoa.
go ahead and let them in on it?
You all, we're talking. Let me just pull them up.
Okay.
We're talking off the highlight.
Okay.
Alex Michaelides.
All right.
Alex Michaelides. We have finished all 3 books, everyone.
Yeah.
And now we're ready to highlight him as an author and kind of
Yeah.
compare the 3, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and just kind of give an overall ranking of these 3, order them, and see where we land, right?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is talk about the books for a little bit. We are not going to share
Oh
our
no,
favorite.
no
We're not
spoilers.
going to let you know how many stars we give it until the end.
Yep.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk about that. But first, what we're going to do is just kind of talk about the book, what intrigued us, maybe what we might have had challenges with, and then also what we liked about the book. So, babe, as always, you're so beautiful. Why don't you
Oh,
go
thanks,
first?
hon. Listen, you ain't bad looking yourself now.
Well, thank you, babe.
You
Thank you.
mighty looking good in that little scully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, anyway, we digress. Let's start with The Silent Patient. Yeah, his first installment. I like to say installment. His first book, his first work. Just to me, in my opinion, a masterpiece for a first time out there. And I, you know how I love. If you're gonna go big or go home. Well, with The Silent Patient, I don't know how long people talked about this book. I mean, they still talk about this book, Paul. This book, I used to read, the first psychological thriller author I read was B.A. Paris, okay? And Behind Closed Doors, I mean, there's so many others that I just can't think of. The Breakdown. And the endings were like, whoa, like, okay. But this particular ending was the first psychological thriller, first of all, that I read with an ending like this.
Wow.
So this one, I can't go into it because I don't want to spoil it, but this one does take place. The setting is a psychiatric setting. So psychological thriller, psychiatric setting, perfect way to do a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Just, I absolutely love this. There's a woman, I think the character's name is Alicia. She's accused or is in I guess a psychiatric prison, so to speak, for killing her husband, but she has not spoken since that time. And I'm just going to leave it there. It goes from there. And she doesn't speak. And so many other people get involved, the people that work in the psychiatric hospital or prison or whatever we're calling it, in there trying to help her. Some are not trying to help her.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out why she's not speaking. We're trying to figure out if she really killed her husband.
Right.
I mean, this thing takes you for a loop. It takes you for an absolute loop. The writing is, I'm not going to say lyrical, but there are moments and quotes in here that you can take to the bank with you for life, for learning and for lessons. The writing is just, he, I don't want to go too far into how he writes until we get to maybe the second or third book.
Okay.
But he has a way of writing. He
Yeah.
has a writing. There is a definite writing style,
Right.
a pattern that we see as we read the second and third book.
Right.
Well done. I mean, people talk about this book for years, still talk about it, and I see why this is well done.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought The Silent Patient was well done. I felt like his writing was impeccable.
Yes.
That he drew you into the story. The way he built the story, the layers, the way he brought in the characters.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really like about the book is the way he flashes back.
Yeah.
He goes back
He has
and he
a
gives
great
a
way
little
of doing
history
that.
on the characters.
Yes.
And that really helps you to understand who they are in the moment.
Yeah.
And it actually and what it does in a very beautiful way is it keeps you from being able to put your finger on who's really who. And I like that about it. Like you start thinking you know things and then you find out you don't. And that was really intriguing to me. As far as endings go, it is one of the best endings of any book that I have read thus far.
I mean, really.
And last year I read 12 books, and some of them were like this.
Yeah.
But none of them were like this.
None of them.
This book, really, the ending of this book is really
perfection.
what did it for me.
Perfection.
And it blows me away because when they write all of these different books, you ask yourself how many different types of endings can they come up with?
Right.
And they still blow you away. Because there are still different ways to present an ending that will still blow the reader away.
Right.
So yeah, The Silent Patient. I didn't read them in the order of when they came out. I happened to read one of his other books first and went back to that one after you talked so much about it.
Yeah.
And I found that, again, it is, to me, a masterpiece of writing. Really, really enjoyed it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was a good book.
Well, I like it. Yeah. I like the idea of, again, that psychological thriller, Paul.
Right.
With a setting of psychiatric prison or with that setting.
With psychiatry being the foundation, really.
Right. And I've watched a couple of videos with him, and he did a lot of research. He pulled on a lot of psychiatrists, which I think is just really good because you want it to be as real as possible.
Yeah.
You're talking about trauma in here. You're talking about patient, doctor relationships, counselor relationships. It's all in there.
Family relationships.
It's all in this book, and the outcome of it is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And so before we say too much, we're going to move on to the next book.
The second book is The Maidens.
Okay.
Now, you read this last.
So The Maidens was the second book.
Yeah, this is the second book.
Oh.
Yeah, but you read this last, right?
I just finished it.
Yeah. This is the second book. So you have this book first, this book, and then this is the newest.
Okay.
That came out in 2024.
Okay, all right. Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So The Maidens, now, this is where I told you, I read this, but I did more audiobook for this one. And the audiobook was absolutely phenomenal because there are parts in this book where you get an offshoot character. And we are assuming that the offshoot character is the person that has committed the crime. And it's read in, I'm not going to say whether it's male or female, but it's read in voice. And it's read dramatically. as that person or that character that we are to assume committed the crime. We are to assume
Okay.
committed the crime.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Which throws you off. So that's why
Indeed.
I want, okay, so the Maidens is about, again, another therapist
Yeah.
who has see, you see these patterns,
Yeah. Yeah.
who ends up, has a family member who ends up being the roommate of someone who's murdered. She comes in, the therapist, not only as a family member, but now she has engaged herself so much into this murder that ends up becoming a serial murder that she is now becoming not only a therapist but an investigator, a self-proclaimed investigator. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what she inserts herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's set in England. Was this set in England? I can't remember the setting for this one.
Yeah.
Okay, another theme, another pattern.
Yeah.
This one heavily steeped in Greek mythology. Lots of quotes, lots of things happening that's steeped in Greek mythology. Again, there's a pattern there. Okay, because again, we get to the third book and we're in Greece.
Well, actually, in the first book,
In the first book,
there was a reference to
it opens up with
Greek
a quote.
mythology as well.
Yes, and it opens up with a Greek mythology.
And it has to do with the silent part.
Yes.
So it also,
you're
so that
right.
is a trend.
So we've got this trend, this
Yeah.
Greek mythology trend here.
Yeah.
And, again, we've got this, centers around a female, centers around therapy and a therapist. And but this time it's serial murders. That's the thing that, that he adds in there that's different. Very much reminds me of somewhat dark academia, because you've got this like cult kind of thing going on with the Maidens, which is another, I think, centers around Greek mythology. And you've got this is where I wanted to say this. Alex Michaelides, thank you for helping me with that, because I'm telling you, he does such a good job with red herrings. And so those red herrings are those things that you write and insert that will throw you off to make you think that this character is now the person that may have done the crime.
Right.
And it's so well done until your focus is so off, you're not thinking about the person that you had in mind the first time.
Right.
And you're like, OMG. He does such a great, until you don't know who's done it.
Right.
Until the very end.
Yeah.
I mean, until the very end, Paul.
Yeah.
And this one, well done. I love the Greek mythology. I love the kind of slight dark academia. I love the character building. Again, he does that quite well in The Silent Patient, but even better here. Just well done.
Now,
well done.
Different from The Silent Patient.
Yeah.
Where he caught me totally off guard with who did it. With the Maidens, I suspected someone all along.
Yeah. Did he try to throw you off though?
He did, but I caught a hold of it, and there was something about this particular character that just bothered me. And I knew they were crooked. I knew it. I knew they were crooked. Now, why they were crooked,
you didn't know.
And how crooked they were, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I just got a feeling early on. And I told you that. I said, something about this character is not sitting right with me.
Yeah.
And so that one was a little different, but it didn't make the book less good. It didn't make it any less entertaining.
Yeah.
And engaging. It still wrapped me up. I think I read it in like a week, which is like a record for me. Because I just kept picking it up. And it was the first book for 2024 that I've read a hard copy of, because
Yeah,
everything
true,
else I
true.
read on my Kindle, on my Kobo. And so this I read the actual book. Everybody, I will say, it is again another very well written book.
Very well
The way he
written.
weaves the Greek mythology
Oh
into it,
man.
and the psychological aspect again is another theme
Yes.
that he weaves through it. And what's
The
interesting,
academia to me,
yeah,
really, I
yeah,
enjoy that part.
yeah, that, and what's interesting to me is the fact that even though this lady is a therapist, she's been through a bunch.
A whole lot.
And so what she's been through, it affects how she's processing everything that's happening in front of her.
Yes.
And that adds another layer to it. So it's her and her stuff, trying to help other people with their stuff. Her stuff piled up on top of their stuff. And y'all, when I say, man,
Job well done.
very, very well done, entertaining from beginning to
Yes,
end.
very, very.
Again, the introduction of characters, top notch, giving you just enough information about each
Just
character
enough.
to make you think, oh, nah, that was crazy enough to have done it. And then that little piece like you talked about, you heard it, but I read it,
Yeah, yeah.
and it kind of came off as like a diary entry.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so,
That's how it came
right,
across.
right,
But to hear the voice of that person, and then to get to the end and say, "Oh,
right. But
oh,
what he did though, was you got a little bit of the history of one character. And so when you're reading the entries, you're thinking, oh, is this person, y'all,
but it's not."
when I say so beautifully done to get you off the trail.
Oh man, it's
And
so
it's
good.
it's really good, y'all. I'm
It's
telling
really
you,
good.
you will really, really enjoy that book. Again, we don't make recommendations here, but if you were thinking about checking it out,
And you really want great psychological. And Paul, we're just scratching the surface of the psychological thriller stuff.
I
Okay?
know, I
I
know,
know we are.
yeah,
I've got some up there that I'm going to read, but I have not come across one yet that is
well,
as good as this.
they're gonna have to come a long
They're
way
going to have to.
to take these down for
Yeah,
sure.
the writing itself.
Yeah. So before we give away something we shouldn't,
Yeah, because
let's
I
move
feel like I
on
want to.
to the next book.
The Fury, everyone. The Fury. His third book. He has not written one. I'm not I didn't see anything coming out in 2025 for him as of yet. I haven't seen anything. So he usually waits like a year or two before he puts out another one. I didn't go back to find out when the Maidens. Let's see real quick. I think the Maidens copyright was 2021. So it looks like he's putting them out every 2 to 3 years. And this one's 2024. So I don't think we'll get one this year. Maybe next year,
He can
hopefully.
take his time.
He can take.
As long as he's cranking them out like this and they're good, take your time.
Yeah, he can take his time.
Yeah.
This one, you all, The Fury. What can I say about The Fury? This was the last one I read, and of course you can see all the annotations in this one. This one's centered around a very, what would you say, reclusive movie star.
I think you can say something like that.
I think she's pretty, yeah. And several others that act as well, but were not as famous. They're not as famous as she was. And again, a lot of psychological traumas, things that have happened in the lives of her, along with her other friends or characters in this book, becomes the center of this book.
Right.
The book is entitled The Fury, I believe because of the winds in Greece, because it's centered in London, but then it turns and it then ends, or a middle to end is centered in Greece, because to get away from the everything. They move. They all go on a, what you say, a retreat, so to speak, to meet up with everyone in Greece, and that is where the murder ensues.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so that's we really have to pull the reins here,
yeah,
because if ever there's a book where nothing is as it seems, this is it. It is
Oh
it,
my
and now
God.
looking back at it, I have more of an appreciation for the way it was written
Yes,
than I did after I initially read it.
especially after you read.
Yeah, the others.
Yes,
I think you have to let it marinate,
you do.
because not when I first read it, I was like, and now sitting here thinking about it,
It makes you want to read it again.
I'm like, wow. So he
Yeah,
really, he took you on a ride with this one.
he did. He did.
And the way that I think he did it was the way he built the characters.
Yeah, the character building in this one, Paul, top notch.
And at the time
It's
when we read
slow,
it,
but it's top notch.
yeah, that's what I said. At the time when we read it, we didn't appreciate it.
Yeah,
We thought he spent too much time
but he had to.
messing around with every individual character. But now looking back on it, you see how that was necessary
Yeah,
to sort of make you suspect everybody.
yeah, because now that you say that, all of these characters are very suspicious
They are.
in a way.
They are.
They are very
Every last one of them.
every last one of them. That's something.
Yeah. There was
Every
no
last one of them.
There was no one that you could say, okay,
Right.
everybody there had motive
That's true.
and the messed up history to go along with it.
The messed up history, the agendas,
Yeah, all of
the
that.
manipulation, the fame, all of that comes out in this book.
It was really, when I say it was well done,
This is good.
and then the psychiatric piece
It's
is
still.
there again. And
I love. Remember, I love the way that the narrator in this book, because these two, I don't. It's just
no narration.
The narrator speaking to us,
Right.
and you're like, I was like, whoa, what is Alex
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, the
I'm gonna just call him
character.
AM.
It's like
what
the
is he
character is
doing?
telling the story.
I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's cool. It's really cool.
I'm gonna leave it there.
And another thing, honey, in the Maidens,
Yeah,
Greece
Greece
was also
Yes.
a part of it.
Yes.
So
that's
he
where
keeps
they
his-
spent their time.
he
And
keeps
yeah,
his
there's a
loca-
murder taking place. Not a murder, but a death
Right,
that
but
takes place.
He keeps his locations
Yeah.
all kind of central with London and with Greece and other areas in England. So
Yeah.
really,
With a
really
name
cool.
like Michaelides, though, he may be Greek.
I'm
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but what I do know is that he really crafted three
Oh, amazing.
good books.
Amazing.
And now we
books.
come down to the hard part.
Oh, wow.
How do we rate these books? So I'm gonna let Leslie go first
Uh-oh.
and give you her ratings, and then I'll give you mine. Go ahead, honey.
Well, like you said, the commonalities, the intriguing mystery,
Yeah.
the narration of all these different but yet the same almost, the settings, and the psychological depth of these books are just phenomenal. My ratings, I'm just going to start from the first book on. 5-star, no doubt. Again, one of the books that will remain, in my all-time greatest psychological thrillers, if not the of all times.
Okay.
Again, I gave this one a 5.
Okay.
But then I got this one and I'm like, whoa, because although the patterns and the themes and the similarities and the commonalities are there, the book's written to me differently. It's just different to me. And I like that about an author, because many authors, it's the same every time. It's the same. The setting could be different, the plot could be different, but the writing is, and this it just turned. And then this one with to me, that dark academia piece slightly with those maidens. This one is a 5 for me.
Okay.
A 5. And the audio, 5. The audio really, really intrigued me.
Okay.
And then this one, again, like you said, I may need to go back and read this one again, but the character development is perfectly done. It just was too much back and forth for me. So I ended up giving this one a 4.5, which is still great. It's still a great book. 4.5. So those are the ratings I gave the three books.
So 14.5 all total then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so for me,
yeah,
starting with The Silent Patient.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys probably watched the video that we did a while ago about our favorite books. And so you already know how I feel about The Silent Patient. 5 is the cap. That's all I can give it. But if I could give it more, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
So would it be 5 plus?
Oh, absolutely. It's a 5 for me.
It's good.
It is.
It's
like
good.
I said, well written, but the ending really is what did it for me.
Yeah.
When you move on to The Maidens, which I just finished, I have to admit that when I first finished it, I kind of felt a little underwhelmed. But giving it a little bit of time to soak in and hearing the things that you said, and then there's one other thing that he did, and I won't say
I
exactly.
think it's giving too much.
But no. He attached the books.
He did.
He connected the books.
He did.
And I was like, whoa.
He did.
And
all 3.
So because of that, I'm going to say that one is like a 4.
Okay. So this one gets a 4.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to bump it up a little, 4.5.
You're going to give it a 4.5.
I'm giving it a 4.5 because
Okay.
it was really, really good.
It was really good.
And then when it comes to The Fury, I think initially when we rated this one, I gave it a 3.5.
I think you did.
But thinking about it again, really really looking back at the fact that he took us on this trip.
He did.
I'm going to have to bump that up to a 4.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to bump that up to a 4. So
4.
If we look at that, you had what?
4.5.
14 and a half. And I gave let me say 8.5. What was that? No, wait a minute. 8.5 for 5. 13 and a half. So so you rated them a little bit higher than I did.
I did.
My math might be off. Y'all forgive me. But anyway, yeah. So you got 2 5s and a 4.5.
Yes.
I've got a 5, a 4.5, and a 4.
Okay.
And that's the way we have rated these books. But let me say something. Fantastic books.
So you gave it 13.5.
13.5. Yeah. Okay, my math's good. Okay.
Math is good.
Been a while since I've been to school, y'all.
That's okay.
But anyway, yeah. Everybody, fantastic books. Leslie has been really wanting me to finish The Maidens so that we could do this. And so if you've read these books, tell us what you think of them.
Yeah.
Tell us how you rated them and give us a little bit of insight as to why you rated them the way you did and why you liked them or not. And if you plan on checking them out, let us know that too.
Let us know.
We'd love to hear that.
These are great books. Great author.
Yeah.
Great author. If you want a solid author, a good mystery, and some good psychological thriller sprinkled in there, this is your guy.
Yeah. And I plan to check out that audio version of
The Maidens.
To see if that makes a difference in how I perceive it.
Yeah.
So everybody, we're about to go because we've taken up quite a bit of your time.
Oh, this was fun though.
But we need to know, what pages are you turning
What
today?
pages are you turning today?
Yeah, please let us know down in the comments what you're reading, what you're liking. Give us your suggestions.
Please.
We'd like to have those. We appreciate them every time we get them because you expose us to some new books that we can read. Everybody, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when we're coming back with some new content. All right, everybody. That's it for today. Baby,
Thanks,
is there anything
everybody.
you want to say?
No, just thank you all so much for your support.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
We can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. But between now and then, you know what to do. Keep turning those pages.
pages.
All right, y'all have a great week.
See you next time. Bye.